welcome everyone to Mindset Monday. It is a great day today, and I'm so excited because I have Ernesto Pedroza here with me today from Promoshare. He is a founder and just a real go-getter out in the world, and he's doing amazing things regarding fans and fan engagement. We're going to learn a lot about him and his business today, but also really what's going on in between those 6 inches between his ears that helps him to be successful, to keep going every day, and to just show up to his day with resilience and energy. So welcome, Ernesto. So happy to have you here.
Hi, Denise. Thanks for having me.
Great. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, about, Promoshare, how it started, how all of that came about?
Yeah, Promoshare is a culmination of a lot of experiences that I've had in my professional career and even as a consumer and as a fan. I get excited, not right now because there's no events to go to or, not too many sporting events with fans aside from the ones that sporting events with fans aside from the ones that I go to with my kids. But I've taken a lot of that and I put it into Promoshare. Some of it worked, some of it hasn't yet, but that's how Promoshare came about. So my background is in marketing, marketing tech, consumer data, a lot of direct marketing and dealing with finding the right customers and engaging them and finding more of them and keeping them engaged in that whole client life cycle. A lot of experience in rewards and loyalty programs. So that's where Promoshare came about. And ultimately, at the end of the day, Promoshare is a platform that allows sports teams and live event producers to engage their biggest fans and not only keep them coming back, but turn them into additional revenue sources.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about that. I mean, the fans actually become ambassadors for their favorite team or for an organization. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, what does a fan actually do when they come to your website?
So the way Promoshare is set up is that each of our clients is in their own little silo, their own little ecosystem. So ultimately, we're going to turn that into a much bigger marketplace where ambassadors can kind of bounce around from different teams or products or events. But the way it works is we start off with a base, and usually the base comes from the client. They say, hey, we have this group of, whether it be tailgaters or just fans in general that they work with or are really engaged with. We invite them onto our platform, and what our platform does is it provides them pre-approved content for them to distribute across all their social media platforms, even offline, so they can text it, email it, to invite people to a certain promotion. So what Promoshare does is it takes the influencer model of a platform where individuals can distribute content. We track all that content. So all the engagement, impressions, sentiment, views, all that stuff is tracked on our platform, along with the conversion down to the individual. So we take the influencer platform and we merge it with a affiliate platform. So we're a hybrid of an affiliate and influencer platform. But we've also gamified it. So there's certain campaigns where the clients want the ambassadors to see who's the leader in the campaign, right? So there's a leaderboard, who's winning certain experiences. So the ambassadors perform these tasks because they're passionate for these teams, right, and events, or the brands that they're representing, and they're earning experiences that are not available to everybody else. So they could start off with, free tickets, right? Something that's very easily, achievable. And then they work their way up, so, and our platform, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So what is one of the most special or amazing experiences that you have organized to date for a fan or for an ambassador?
Having your kid sit on the bench for an inning.
How awesome is that?
Yeah. So
at a major league baseball game,
at a
right?
Major League Baseball game, right? So that and having your son or daughter come out onto the ice, right, for a Disney on Ice campaign, that type of deal. Cool. And the cool thing is you hear the excitement, right, from the parents or the people involved, and we often would get asked a lot, like, oh, is this more like a parent platform? It's like, well, no, it's not, but a lot of these experiences, the parents want their kids to experience it, because that could have been experienced by an adult. You get to sit in the dugout for an inning, but they wanted their kids to do it.
So it really encourages them to kind of stay active in all of the tasks and challenges that are presented, right?
Right, and sports teams are great for us as clients because they have the long season, right? So it gives the ambassadors a chance to that runway to earn those experiences. They may start in April, and they may start earning some of these bigger experiences come July or August. But it keeps them engaged throughout.
Awesome. I love it. I love the whole idea of it. I love the fact that you're benefiting the organization and your client, but you're really bringing fans into an experience that they might not otherwise ever have a chance to engage with or be a part of. And it's like this symbiotic relationship between the two, right? Where the fan is doing some challenges and then they get these really great benefits, and the team, it helps brand the team a little bit more, helps market the team a little bit more, and then creates this community, this online community of people really kind of sharing so much content about their teams and what they love about their sport. So I love it. I just think it's an amazing platform.
Yeah, and as far as community goes, we that's a term that we toss around quite a bit, because these sports teams exist and they live within communities. And we believe that these communities should share in the economics and the experience of the event. And there's different communities within these markets as well. And theme nights have always been something very good and successful for all kinds of sports teams, whether it be like teacher night or plumber night, or whether Hispanic night at the ballpark, or gay lesbian night at the ballpark, or so on and so forth. And these teams engage these communities, and what Promoshare allows them to do is to create different segments and different campaigns within the platform, and learn more and grow these communities around their team. It's really cool to see it happen. And that's one thing, is when you so I get asked, like, well, what drives you, or what is probably the most exciting thing? Like, you asked, what's the most exciting experience that we've provided, and the other side of that is like, what's kind of like the most exciting thing around your business that you see or that you experience is it's actually creating something from nothing, and seeing thousands of people, engage with it, and actually see that what you planned out for a specific team or a specific brand actually come together and work.
Awesome.
Those things are very exciting.
Yeah, amazing. And so I want to shift gears just a little bit and kind of get in your head a little bit. What have been some of the things that have been most challenging in developing this business that could have kind of steered you off course or even deterred you from wanting to continue, but didn't? And how did you manage those things? Because I think, for me with this podcast, what I want people to walk away with is, besides learning about great people out there and their awesome businesses and what they're doing, also kind of how do you work your way through a challenge? What, was something that was difficult for you, and how were you able to pull through and manage it?
That's a great question. It's a loaded question because there's not just like one thing that you have to overcome. In the beginning, like you asked kind of like how did Promoshare come about, and it's from all my experiences and so on and so forth, right? But that doesn't mean that I have all the answers. So I've reached out to other professionals. I've reached out to other potential clients and people and sometimes within those people that you reach out to, you're gonna hear things you don't want to hear, like, no, this wouldn't work because of this or that, or it's too much work, or we're already working with so and so, or I think sometimes it's one of the hardest things is getting the other people, the people that you're trying to sell it to see your vision. And that's one of the things that's really hard, right? Because you're imagining it in your head and you're envisioning it. And then you go to somebody and you say, hey, this is how it's going to work. And they're like, yeah, well, no, because, we do it this way, or our process is this way, or that goes against, this red tape, or goes against that. So then, you have to you have to be agile, if and I'm not a believer in totally, if you believe in something, it's going to work no matter what. No, you have to go out there and really learn and spend time and learning about what you're doing in the industry you're in to see how you're going to fit into that ecosystem. Because there's ecosystems that exist, and you have to find a way. And then along the way, you're going to say, okay, there's going to be a hurdle here, and how are we going to get around it? So you really have to just talk it through, work it through, whiteboard it through.
So important. I mean, what you're actually talking about is not being so rigid in your idea and in your vision that you can't take in information as you're moving along and bend and shift as needed to be able to fit and kind of maybe sometimes even compromise so that you can work with someone or gain a client or build the platform in some way, shape, or form. So you talk about being agile, and I kind of liken that to being flexible,
Right.
but also being able to think differently and quickly enough so that you don't lose an opportunity.
Exactly. And you got to be really humble, especially when you're, Promoshare is a platform that has like, multiple areas, right? Where it's not just like one simple function. And because we have multiple functions, and you're taking like everyday people and you're partnering with these big brands that have, that guard their brand and have their brand standards and so on and so forth. How are you going to police all these things, and how are you going to do this, and how are you going to do that? So there's a lot of actions that you have to consider. And and saying that, my point with that is that you have to be humble and talk to people that are in the mix, right? That could be a potential client, or maybe somebody or somebody you get introduced to, and you got to sit with them or have a call with them and say, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. Do you see this working, or what do you think my roadblocks would be? Because I've met other tech entrepreneurs that are adamant that, no, this is going to do this because they're so focused on being disruptive. And no, we're going to disrupt that. We're going to disrupt that. And this is what we're going to do. And this is how we're going to do it. So we don't need to talk to anybody because we don't want anybody to know. We're just going to come in, knock the doors down, and versus coming in and saying, hey, would this really work? And, how will it work? And what are going to be our barriers to entry?
Right. Right. So really trying to work with people to say, hey, I see this is what you're doing, and we want to fit into that model somehow. How can we create a space and work with you that will help amplify or generate more revenue or market or advertise better, whatever it is. But what you're talking about is I get that a lot, because you hear that a lot, especially in the sports tech industry, about disruption. And I think that that's an incredibly important piece, because there's so much out there and so much opportunity, and you do want to stand out, but you also want to be able to fit in with what's already there, and humility and and keeping your ego in check are really important pieces of that, because that's how you build relationships.
Exactly.
That's how you connect with people, and that's how you build connections and opportunity. So I really appreciate you bringing that piece up. I want to dive a little bit deeper now. Did you always have this mindset? I mean, when you were young, were you kind of always like, oh, I just need to be humble? Where did you learn this from? Is it from years of experience? Were you, you know, in certain situations? Did you have influential people in your life? How do you develop that mindset over time?
No, I think the humility comes from being knocked down so many times. That's where it comes from. Because when
Yeah,
you're younger, yeah, when
you
you're
keep getting
younger,
up,
yeah,
important part.
yeah, when you're younger, it's I'm not saying I'm not ambitious now, but you're even more ambitious, and you don't know what humility is. Not that you're not a nice person, but
Right.
you're just you don't know what true humility is until you get knocked down a handful of times.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really where it comes from.
Okay. Yeah. So getting knocked down and not and learning from it, right?
Of course,
So
yeah, yeah. I mean,
that
it just even with what we're going through now, right? We have we have COVID-19. There's no events to maybe a handful of them here and there around the country, and we're a tech platform that is specifically around fan engagement and moving inventory and all, and there's no inventory. So it's like, well, what do you do, right? And
yeah.
we're so early. I mean, we launched in 2019. So 2019 was our first full year. We were kind of putting all the pieces together, getting ready to launch in 2018 to launch in 19. And then this happens in pretty much the end of Q1
Yeah.
2020, right? But so it's not like extremely devastating for us. As a matter of fact, it's created a ton of opportunity, and
Hmm.
and just because everybody's so accessible, and everybody's thinking like, okay, what are we going to do when things do open up, right? How are we going to prepare? How are we going to do this? How are we going to make up for so much lost revenue, right? How are we going to, if we kind of take, the historic numbers and pop them into, assuming that it's going to be the same when things do open up, how is it going to look? So how can we amplify sales? So I've had to, I have my own, co-founders and team members that, we had to kind of we've had a couple of people that said, oh my God, what do we do now? How quickly can we start selling hand sanitizer and making face masks? Because, we need, well, it's like, well, no, we're not going to, by the time we pivot to something else, maybe the world's going to be back up and we're going to miss that opportunity. Not to say that we haven't found other ways of monetizing our software or doing other things with it, because we have, but these were things that were already kind of in the works, maybe later down the road for Promoshare, but we just moved them up in the line. But you have to always look at I don't even want to say it's a failure, but just experiences, right? Because you can't say, oh, this is a failure, COVID-19. No, this is not something that we gambled on and we lost. This is something that happened, and you have to look at it as an experience. And okay, in 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years, when something like this happens again, how do you prepare for it, or what do you do?
Right. So important. Such important feedback and insights for people, because, it could have been where, you all said, hey, well, we just have to shut down Promoshare for now because there aren't any games. There aren't any fans going to any games. So we're not going to be able to do anything. You showed resilience because like you said, you learned so much over the years from getting knocked down that you got back up, and you, instead of kind of overreacting, having a freak out and doing something rash, you sat back, you reflected on what it was that you all can do, what opportunities you could have, and then shifted a little bit and started kind of growing in another direction, or planning for when this will be over, which I think is so important. Such an important thing for people to know, and really important in terms of mindset.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to look at, well, for one, I mean, everybody's situation is different, right? So there's some
Yeah.
people that obviously this devastated, just a ton of people,
Yeah.
and um, people, certain companies are when whether they're startups or they're completely cut off their revenue stream, right? So they have to pivot to something else right away because that's their only income.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and but in our case, we're looking at Promoshare as, okay, where is it going to fit when the world opens back up again?
Yeah.
And do we want to be there? So we kept answering it's yes, 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 right? So we got to continue to build, so we are meeting a lot of great people right now, and that's a great thing, right? So and we are now starting to close a lot of deals for next year, assuming that next year will be open, right? And they all kind of have to be determined dates, right? But
Yeah.
there's a massive interest in what we're doing around the world, and we've been talking to people around the world almost every week, and it's COVID has allowed us to do that, so
Yeah.
this is something that's obviously globally, and you know um, that's what we're just continuing to pound away, and as things open up, we're right there with them.
Getting ready to take advantage of those opportunities that you are now preparing for, which is true grit and resilience. So I love it. I want to ask you, this is the best way for people to get in touch with you. People can go to promoshare.com or email you at ernie@promoshare.com. Any last words that you want to share with anybody about mindset and showing up to your day? Any advice you want to give to an entrepreneur or someone in the world who's maybe struggling right now about how to kind of show up to their day and be successful?
Yeah, I mean, it for one, that is the best way of reaching me. You can go to promoshare.com or ernie@promoshare.com. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely challenging times, right? COVID has taken us out of our routine. Whether you're single, married with kids, whatever the case is, it's taken us out of our routine and our kids' routine. I have 3 kids, 13, 10, and 8. So they're school age kids, and they're in sports and stuff, and it's completely taken them out of the routine. It's affected our businesses. It's affected a lot. And the one thing I could say is you have to always look past the situation that you're in now. And I think that usually helps, comfort. It helps you think better. And I think individuals talking to, vocalizing what they're feeling and what they're going through, and surrounding yourself with other people that may be in a similar situation as you. And, how are you guys coping with this, and how are you guys dealing with that? Because I've had a lot of people reach out to me recently, and I've had to do the same. Hey, how are you guys doing that? And what are you guys doing? And how are these times, and so on and so forth. I'm meeting with a client later today who their entire company is upside down. They're a very large entertainment company, and we're just getting together just to get together, just to talk about the world when things open up again. And you're talking about like hundreds of employees that are laid off. There's like a handful that are still working there. So it's like these are all the things that you just have to kind of just keep going with.
Yeah, it's really good advice. Thank you. And you're talking about, again, keeping those relationships up, and doing your best to think forward, to learn from what's happening and to continue to move forward. But I think more importantly, so supporting people who may be struggling, and doing your best to just listen, to be there, and who knows what comes of that. Maybe you strategize or something. At the very least, you're supporting someone. I know a lot of people are struggling now. So I really, really appreciate you being here, Ernie, for your insights. I'm so excited to see what Promoshare brings to us, especially when sports open back up again. But I know you're doing awesome things now. And I just want to thank you for being a guest and being thoughtful here today. If you like these podcasts and you want more, click the subscribe button. I'm here. You can get in touch with me at denise@gameplanu.org. And I'm thanking everyone for tuning in today. Thank you, Ernie, for being here.
Thank you, Denise, for having me.
Wonderful day. All right. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.